Ho, ho! I'm going out and about into the community today, and before I leave for the day, I wanted to answer some of your cleaning questions on pricing. I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. All right, there is a question that came in from a caller who asked this.
Hi, Angela. I'm a solo house cleaner, and I have a weekly client who has me not only clean, but also do all their laundry and also heavily organize and tidy up. Every week I've been staying till about 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. just in order to get everything done. As you can imagine, this gets pretty pricey for them at $25 an hour. In a case like this, would it be wise to discount my work since they have me come every week, or should I just keep it the same no matter what? I want to be kind and show them that I appreciate the business they're giving me, but I also want to get paid for the work that I do. I'm a little torn. Any advice you could give would be great. Thanks.
All right, I love your question. And do you discount your rates? The answer is no, because you're charging by the hour. And so you do not make more money by reducing your price, and you do not get more hours in the course of a day. So you need to get paid for the hours that you work. My second thing that I would recommend is that you actually raise your pricing, not lower it. Since COVID, the going rate across the country has gone from $25 to $35 an hour, and that's just standard rate across the board. All of our PPE went up, our cleaning equipment went up, our supplies went up, the cost of fuel went up, vehicle expenses and service went up, everything across the board went up, your prices did too. So $35 to $55 across the board is standard in the industry. I love the fact that you want to do right by your customer and their pricing. What it sounds like to me is that you need to break up your packages and offer them individually instead of all lumping them together and doing it by the hour. It sounds like you have an organizing package, you have a tidying up package, you've got a laundry package, you've got a cleaning maintenance package, and all of those could be broken up instead of you trying to do everything every time you go to clean. That way you're not going to be there for 9 hours every single time. And I actually don't recommend anybody work 9 hours in a stretch. That just is fatiguing to the cleaner, and it's fatiguing to the customer to have you there all day. So I recommend breaking it up in about 3 or 4 hour slots. Price it accordingly so that you are only being paid for what you do, and then plan to get in and get out. And if it means coming back the next day for another 3 or 4 hours, so be it. But that way it breaks things up, and then you can price it accordingly so it's not overwhelming to the customer and that you do get paid for the time that you spend.
I do want to extend my services to Airbnbs, and I've took it upon myself to reach out to a few and offer my services, but they say my prices were a bit too high. And I noticed that I am charging them as I would charge my residential homes. And I just want a little guidance, or how I should go about a charging fee when it comes to cleaning Airbnbs, and how should I charge? What's the best way of charging? Hourly, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? Thank you.
All right, pricing your services for Airbnb is very different than residential pricing for this reason. Residential pricing, you're going to have a weekly, a bi-weekly, or a monthly customer, for example. You might also price deep cleaning packages that are separate from your maintenance clean. On an Airbnb clean, you have a bunch of different tasks that have nothing to do with residential cleaning. For example, on a residential clean, we don't open up the cupboards underneath the bathroom sink, for example. We don't open up closets. We don't open up drawers. We leave all that stuff closed. But in an Airbnb clean, because of damage reports, because you've got to make sure that the customers didn't leave anything behind, you have to open all of those things up. So the tasks change a little bit, as does the pricing. Also, we have to stop and consider that instead of having a regular scheduled account like you would with a weekly or a bi-weekly customer, during the time that a customer would check out and the next customer would check in, you have to reserve that slot even if you're not cleaning. That way you're available to do the turnover service in the event that a customer did come. So my recommendation is for pricing that you want to walk through with the host and have the host explain to you exactly what the details are and how involved they are. I can't just give you a price that says this is your Airbnb price, because an Airbnb home that supports 2 guests, for example, is going to be very different than a great big vacation home that supports 14 people staying there, right? So the house and the cleaning services that you provide are going to be very different. One of the things that is very different is that on a typical house that we clean for a maintenance clean, we don't do any of the linen service. And yet we do on an Airbnb clean. We change all of the beds, we make the beds, we change the bathroom towels, all that kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that you're pricing accordingly and you're not leaving any money on the table. That means having a conversation with the host.
So after you've done a walkthrough for an estimate and you start noticing things that are a little bit more dirtier than you thought, a little bit more harder work than you expected, how do you upcharge? How do you go back and tell the customer it's going to cost more?
Nah, you got to a customer's house and now it costs you more money. I hate when that happens. All right, the very first thing is I recommend that you keep the price the same. If you gave a customer a quote and they hired you based on that quote, and you're now cleaning the job on that quote, and your price is changing, a couple of things happen. The customer is going to feel like it was a bait and switch. Unless, here's the big caveat, unless you were doing the walkthrough and you said, when I come to your house, if the house is in the same condition, these are my rates. But if I get to your house and your house is more cluttered, or something has spilled and hasn't been cleaned up, or the situation of the home has changed, the pricing will also change, at which point I will contact you, right? You have to say that so that the customer understands the price is going to change if things in the home are different than they were on the day of the walkthrough. Because this happens a lot, right? You get to a customer's home and then lo and behold, they just had a cleaner at the house and now it's all unraveled and it looks different and it requires a lot more time than what you were counting on. So if you save that inside your clause, and this is the caveat, you don't just charge them more money. You call them and you say, whoa, the house is different than when we made our agreement. We need to make a new agreement based on the new condition of the home, right? So my suggestion is right now, if you did not have that conversation, that for this job, you honor that price so there are no surprises. The worst thing that can happen is you get to a customer's home, you gave them a price, and then you change your price without any explanation. And now they're going to tell all their friends, don't hire this company, it's a trick, right? They're going to feel like they got scammed. And we don't want that from your company. So for this job, honor the price. And then the next job, make that clause where you say, hey, if anything changes, there's a new price. All right, I hope that helps. I'm headed out into the community. If you got questions or comments, those go in the notes below. You can also call into the show, askahousecleaner.com. There's a blue button right there in the corner. Hit the button, send me a message, and you and me will have a talk. Until then, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.